Welcome and namaste. Let's start today's practice by finding a comfortable seat, giving yourself all the support that you need. Cross-legged is one option. You could sit with the legs extended out in front of you, sit back on or in between the heels. And once you have established your seat, reach back and identify the buttock bones and take the flesh of the buttocks diagonally out and back. Find a nice neutral pelvis. So the tail is heavy, but you're not tucking under. Imagine the pelvic bowl holding a precious elixir that you don't want to spill out the navel or out the kidney band. And then think tall and act tall, rising up through the crown. Draw the hands together in prayer position in front of the heart. Take a deep breath in and sigh it out. Do that again. Deep breath in. And if you haven't already, allow your eyes to close. Soften the muscles around the orbit of the eye. Relax the jaw. And turn your attention to your breath and very gradually begin to grow the breath. Let each inhalation be only the smallest measure, longer, slower, and deeper than the previous one. Ideally in yoga, we breathe in and out through the nose. If you're experiencing any amount of congestion, take whatever amount of breath you need through the mouth in order to get a complete breath. And as you gradually settle into a nice, easy rhythm of deep, smooth, sweet breath, turn your attention in particular to the exhalation. As you release the breath, notice the body's natural response to letting the breath go, and give yourself over to that downward and inward flow of energy, Apana Vayu. Begin to feel the full weight of your flesh and bones resting on the earth. And as you exhale, softening the abdomen, the shoulders, releasing all expression from the face, creating a blank mask. Relaxing the muscles around the orbit of the eye. And while the lips remain lightly touching, separate the teeth. Feel the weight and volume of the tongue relaxing in the low jaw. Without losing what you've established in the intimate connection to the exhalation, expand the consciousness now to also include the details of the inhalation. So as you take that deep breath in, notice the body's natural response. Give yourself over to the upward and outward flow of energy, or prana vayu, that accompanies every inhalation. Sitting down and sitting up, rib cage buoyant, sense of spaciousness in the chest cavity. One more nice, slow, steady, deep breath in. And as you exhale, tuck the chin, bow just the head. Slowly releasing the full weight of the head forward until the face is turned to the earth. Taking a moment in this gesture of humility and reverence to surrender the wisdom of the brain to the wisdom of the body, to surrender the ego to the heart, and invite the heart to be what leads you and guides you through your practice today. We'll feel those intentions by joining our voices in the sacred sound of Om. Inhaling as the head floats up. Om. Blinking the eyes open and release the hands. Coming on to all fours, hands and knees. Turn the toes under. You may have to reach back to get that reluctant fifth toe to come under. And then gently begin to sit back towards your heels, any amount, which might be not much at all, and that's okay. Push the earth away with your hands. Do all of this very gently with sensitivity. So the lower you bring the hips toward the heels, the more intense the resistance in the toes will be. So you use the arms and the hands to judge how far you go back and support yourself. If it's coming along, you walk the hands in and maybe sit on your heels, maybe even for just a nanosecond. This shape is great for helping us to find Mula Bandha, the lift in the floor of the pelvis, because nobody really wants to sit heavy on their heels. So you feel that lift up through the crown. One more nice deep breath here and back onto your hands if you're not already. Let the feet float up and relax the ankles and the feet and begin to circle the ankles. Go in both directions. And then gently tap the tops of the feet on the earth. Let that come to stillness. Bring the inner edges of the feet, the heels, the knees right together, and then once again begin to sit back towards your heels. Rest on your arms as much as you need to. Maybe close the gap between the hips and the heels with a blanket or a bolster. Mind your knees, and then as you're able, sit up. So really squeezing the heels in toward the midline. So sitting up is a relative term, right? If you started here, this could be sitting up. If you started here, this could be sitting up. So it doesn't really matter where you go, but matters how you feel. So one more nice deep breath here and sigh it out, a little smile, even if it's fake. And then come back onto your hands and knees. And once again, let the feet float up, circle the ankles, go in both directions, and then tap the tops of feet on the earth. With the feet together, turn the toes under one more time. Slowly coming back, slowly. Get that reluctant fifth toe to come under. And as you come back and maybe towards sitting up, you might find that blocks are handy. So the blocks can help you to lift the torso up, but give you something to lean onto. Maybe the blocks can come on the high height right by your hips. I'll turn sideways again so you can see where we're going. So the blocks here are right by the hips so that perhaps the knees would float up. So the knees float up, but the thighs are horizontal. So we don't want the knees to float up and the hips to drop down. You want to try to find length, that free flowing river of energy out through the knees. And if it's coming along, and sitting right back on your heels, rising up through the crown, then you may find that if you set your gaze on something that's not moving in front of you and keep your jaw relaxed and your eyes wide, you might be able to bring the hands together in prayer position. Even if it's just for a nanosecond. Good. And then hands down. Get your high height of your blocks. If you don't have that already, it will make it easier. And then on an inhalation, lift the hips and lower the heels. Come into a forward fold. So just half or Ardha Uttanasana, stretching the heart forward. Press down in the blocks and then isometrically draw the blocks back towards you. So the energy of the arms is going back to send the sternum forward. Lift the buttock bones high. Lift the kneecaps. Draw the belly in and up. So really expanding through the kidney band. Don't let the low back sag. Squeeze the legs together, send the inner thighs back, lift the buttock bones and spread them away from one another. Take a deep breath in. So you'll go slowly if you have issues with your knees, maybe issue with your heel. But if you don't have any issues with your heel or your knees, then you can go more quickly here. Going to inhale, bend the knees and drop down, and then exhale to lift. Inhale to bend, and exhale to lift. Add a little bit of an exaggerated breath. Let it be strong and sharp through the nose. Inhale through the nose. Exhale with a ha through the mouth. Next time you exhale, pause. Lift the buttock bones, lift the kneecaps, draw the belly in and up, and come forward from the kidney band. So as you lift the buttock bones high, imagine a bead of liquid cascading down along the spine. Blocks are there to support your hands. Bend your knees as you need to, but let the head hang. If it's coming along, maybe you can hold on to the backs of your ankles or heels. Use the arms as organs of action. Turn the elbows out and spread them apart. So we're bringing the low belly toward the upper thigh, the mid belly toward the mid thigh, and the upper belly toward the lower thigh. The crown of the head is extending to the space between the big toes. So Uttanasana is preparation for the intense west side stretch or Paschimottanasana. Same shape if we were sitting down with the legs extended out. Find your breath. And then bringing the hands to the waist. You have to feel strong and stable in the legs. So if you don't, bend the knees, bring the hands to the thighs. On an inhale, stretch the heart forward. And with a light heart and a heavy tail, rise up. Good, and then come to find a nice, comfortable standing shape. Feet can be as wide as you need in order to feel stability. And nice, soft knees. And then we're going to begin to roll across the left toes. So I'm turning the toes under, going across the toenails, starting at the big toenail and going across every toenail. So go slowly. Feel everything. And then change the direction. Go from the little toenail to the big toenail. And then pause. Toenails on the earth. And then you can decide, notice what it feels like to be on the little toenail and what it feels like to be on the big toenail and everything in between, and then find your optimum shape. So this leg is obviously bent. Toes are curled under. So we're going to sit back and down. Both knees go forward. Knees go forward as the buttock goes down. The heel remains lifted high, high, high. Good. So take some strength in the leg that is holding you. Your right leg. Good. And then come on up and flip the toes over. So now the ball of the toe is down. The heel is high. Lift that heel high, 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 and then again, bend the knees. So you want the knee to go forward and the heel to lift any amount higher. And bear the weight on the big toe mound, the left foot. One more nice deep breath here, and then come on out and release. Take a moment just to notice what you feel. And lift all of the toes. Lift the toes and spread the toes wide. Spread the toes wide and extend them forward and let them float down. You don't need the toes to stand. Good. And then rolling across the toenails of the right foot. Doesn't matter which direction you go in. You'll start in one direction and then you'll change the direction. And change the direction. Finding any amount of mobility in those toes. And then when you're on the toenails, pause Roll toward the little toe and toward the big toe. Feel everything in between and identify your optimum shape, and then begin to sit down. So lifting the heel higher, sending the knee further forward, big stretch for the instep in front of the ankle, the top of the foot. Good, and then come on up and flip the toes over so that now the toenails are up and you're on the ball of your foot. Roll onto the little toe and onto the big toe, and notice where you feel the optimum place. Lift the heel high and bend the knee. So lifting the heel high, 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 send the knee forward, bearing weight on the ball of that foot. So watch that you're not just shifting over onto the left leg. Good, one more nice deep breath, sigh it out and release. Let the feet be just wider than your hips. Soft knees, and bring your hands to your knees and circle your knees. Go slowly and keep the heel down. Go slowly, keep the heel down. So start with our feet and our ankles, and we'll work our way up each joint at a time, addressing the knees as well. We'll come into the hips, get to the shoulders and the neck. And then change the direction of the circling. Keep the heels down, but make those circles as big as possible. Go slowly. And then pause with both knees bent. Heels down, but knees bent. Maybe you can bring the forearms or elbows to the thighs. Let the neck be a natural extension of the spine. Relax the neck and head. Shift the weight back toward the heels. Don't need the toes to stand. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, begin to straighten the right leg. And it may not straighten all the way, and that's okay. And let the right arm dangle. And then as you inhale, sweep the right arm out to come up. Don't look behind you. Look straight to the right. Stretch the crown of the head forward so the left ear is in line with the left big toe, more or less. But watch that you're not shifting or swaying. Turn the belly, turn the ribs, turn the shoulders, turn the gaze. One more nice deep breath, sigh it out and come back down, both knees bent, forearms to the side. Shift the weight back and pause. Nice deep breath. Exhale, work slowly toward extending the left leg, arm dangling. And then inhale, sweep that left arm out to come up. Take your time. Extend the crown forward, make both sides of the waist long. Turn the belly, turn the ribs, turn the shoulders, lift the gaze up toward the thumb. Stay for one more breath. Right ear in line with the right big toe. And come on down. Good. Extending both legs, hands to the hips, heavy tail, light heart. Rise up. Beautiful. Bring the feet just a little closer so they're hip distance apart. In yoga, we're not talking about these hips. If you put your hand on your waist, you find that bony prominence. That's your frontal hip bones. That's how wide you want your feet to be. And hands on the waist, knees nice and soft, and begin to circle your hips. Go slowly. And notice what it takes to keep the feet flat. Certainly the weight will shift to one part of the foot or the other, but don't let anything lift. And then you notice the direction that is very easy to take your hips. And it'll be different for all of us. So you notice you. And then bring your attention to the part of the circle that's a little bit more challenging and evasive, and so really slow it down and see what it would take to get your hips to move in that direction. No forcing, just an inquiry. What would it take? And the answer might be a few more years of practice, a little more concentration, a little more flexibility or strength. And then change the direction of the circling. Notice what happened when you changed direction. It might be subtle and it might be obvious, but we want to notice. And then letting all of that come to stillness. bearing the weight evenly from the left foot and the right foot across the big toe mound to the little toe mound in the center of the heel. Lift the toes. Spread the toes wide. Really root down in the big toe mound and the little toe mound and the center of the heel of both feet. Release the arms down. Turn the palms away and inhale to sweep the arms up. Interlace your fingers and then release just the pointer fingers. So working to bring the upper arms toward the ears. Toes are still lifted. Inhabit the inner edge of your right foot as you traction and take the torso over to the left. Inhaling up and exhaling over. Scoop the tailbone under, firm the buttocks, but don't let the hip shift forward. Spin the left back ribs forward, take the right shoulder back, and then the next time that you come over, we'll pause. Inhabit the inner edge of your right foot. Let the toes come down. Firm the buttocks, lift the kneecaps. Spin the left back ribs forward. Reach the heart up to the sky and traction the right arm with the left arm. One more deep breath and inhale, rise up. Exhale, release the arms out to come down. I'm going to step back so that maybe you would be able to see my hands as they go up. We'll see. Finding Tadasana, nice stable standing mountain pose. Lift your toes, turn the palms away and inhale to take the arms up. Almost. Interlace the fingers. Go in your non-habitual way. So if you're not sure, interlace and then switch every finger by one. Keep the toes lifted. Release just the pointer finger and reach the pointer finger up to pierce the sky. Relax your shoulders. Let the toes come down. Firm the buttocks, scoop the tail under. Inhabit the inner edge of the left foot as you lean to the right. And inhale up. And exhale, lean. So the legs remain stable, steady, strong, and engaged. Dynamic, but not frantic. Scoop the tail under, lift the kneecap. And then coming over and pause. Inhabit the inner edge of your left foot. Spin the right back ribs forward. Turn your heart up to the sky and look up. Soft jaw. Relax eyes. Deep breath. Inhale up and exhale to release. Good. Find your strap. Take your time to find your strap. I'm going to shift the monitor so that you'll be able to see my arms and shoulders a little bit better. We're going to work on our shoulders with the strap. And those of you who practice with me regularly, you know that I'm fond of calling them the shoulders, the S-H-O-U-L-D. So when you should on yourself, you tend to take it in your shoulders. So find the middle of your strap, both ends even, and then hold the strap in the middle and slowly take your arms wide, just slightly wider than your shoulders. So not too wide, but not too narrow. Just right, and you'll know. And then create tension on the strap. Find the stability of your legs, drop the heels, lift the kneecap, scoop the tail under. So not so much tension that you're starting to quiver and clench the jaw, just enough to feel tension on the strap. And drop the outer upper arm. Drop this part of the arm. So that as if you were going to try to turn the palms to face upward, and you can even do that to find that spiraling of the upper arm, right? It's spiraling in this direction, and that takes the outer shoulder down. So feel that, and then maintain that in the shoulder, but release the hands to face down again. And you'll see, you might lose it, but that's your effort. That's where you work. And then keep the tension on the strap and inhale to take the arms up any amount while keeping the shoulders soft. Doesn't matter how high you go. The wider the hands, the easier this will be. And then exhaling down. Keep the tension. And inhale, keep the tension. Lift the arms up. And exhale, bring them back down. So maintaining that spiral of the upper arm as you lift the arm up so that the armpits are starting to turn toward one another, broadening the upper back. And then pause. Drop the tail, lift the heart, Let the abdomen drop down from the sternum to the pubic bone. The tail is heavy, the knees are lifted. Good. And then release the tension on the strap, but keep the shape. And now you realize how much you love that strap. Reach the knuckles up and then create tension on the strap once more. So again, not so much that you're trying to rip the strap in half, but just enough to notice the dynamic energy that comes from the tension in the strap. Turn the armpits toward each other and then release the tension on the strap. Find your breath, settle down. Notice where you're bearing the weight on the feet and how you're stacking the knees over the ankles and the hips over the knees and the shoulders over the hips, or not. And then create tension on the strap again. And let the arms slide a little wider. And as you exhale, take the arms back any amount. But don't bend the elbows, keep the tension. And inhale, return to the up. And exhale, take the arms back any amount. Definitely easier the wider the hands go. I'm always inspired by the baseball players who just use the length of the bat as they're warming up to open up their chest in this way. So you find the distance between your hands that makes it reasonable to keep the elbows strong and straight, right? Don't bend the elbows. Don't let the elbows bend for the arms to go back, and maintain Tadasana. Don't let your hips go forward. There's a whole lot of don'ts here. And the next time that the arms go back and you find a reasonable shape, relax into the support of the strap, which is not to say to go limp and fall into a dull torpor, but to let the strap do the work. So you're sort of suspended, sternum lifted, collarbones expanding, and then inhale back up. And release the tension on the strap. Let the strap rest on your neck and relax the arms down. Resist the temptation to wiggle or shake the energy out. We want to build a container, our body, strong enough that we can sustain strong pranic energy. Life force, vitality. Feel it. Good. And then take the strap once more. Take the strap once more, create tension, hands just wider than your shoulders. Create that tension and inhale to take the arms up. Doesn't matter how high you go, you find your comfortable, reasonable position. Take the arms a little bit wider, keep the tension. Inhabit the inner edge of your right foot and let the left arm pull the right arm up. Not trying to go over, but straight up with the right arm, inhabiting the inner edge of the right foot. Good. And then everything goes as a unit. Spin the left back ribs forward. Take that right arm back any amount. Lift your heart up to the sky. Gaze up. Firm the buttocks. Stand evenly on both feet. And inhale up. Keep the tension on the strap. And the right arm is pulling the strap over to lift the left arm up. Inhabit the inner edge of your left foot. Find a long line from the big toe mound to the hand. Or hand. And then lean. Take that left shoulder back, spin the right ribs forward. Scoop the tail under, lift the heart, soften your jaw. No trembling. If you're clenching your jaw, holding your breath, that's the body's way of telling you that you're trying to do too much and the body doesn't lie. Inhale up. Exhale, release the arms just to shoulder height. Good. So I'm going to work to drop the right arm and bring the left arm across. And then the arms come up and down so that the right arm is down and to the left, just at shoulder height. And then we come across and go down with the right. And then the left pulls the arms up and the left pulls the arms over. And now the right arm is going to take over. The right arm is going to pull the left arm across. It's going to drop down. And now the left arm is going to pull the right arm up. And the left arm draws the right arm over. Then the right arm takes over. We're going to go in the opposite direction now. So the right arm lifts up and it pulls the left arm up and over. And then the left arm drops down and the left arm takes over to take the left hand across the horizon, the right hand across the horizon. Lift the right arm up and the right arm pulls the left hand up all the way over. And then the left arm comes down and the left arm pulls the right arm across the horizon and pause. Good. Put your strap around your neck one more time and relax. Feel what you feel. So take a few moments to just quiet the mind, quiet the breath, and scan your body. Noticing not only the most obvious sensations and the loudest voice of your body, but the more subtle sensations, the quieter voice of your body. Good. Last time, I'm going to take the strap. Using the strap to do some work for the shoulders, the shoulders. Take your strap in your left hand. So just, you might hold the buckle so that you don't whack yourself with the buckle. And reach the arms down. Turn the palms to face away and inhale to take that left arm up. Good. Now use the right hand to hold your left upper arm and turn that upper arm this way. So the outer arm is moving toward the inner arm. The palm is going to start to face backward. Elbow point straight ahead. Use that extra arm and then give yourself a pat on the back. So the elbow may want to extend outward, very likely, the resistance in your shoulder. So you have to respect that. But as you're able, spiral the upper arm and lift it up, and then slide that right hand up and hold your elbow point and take it back any amount. So drawing it in and up and back. Maintain the strength and stability of your legs to keep you stable. I'm going to turn my back to you. So I'm not mirroring you anymore. But I'm still going to take the right arm out. The left arm now has to find its ability to stay there. The right palm faces down and then back. Take the right arm back behind you. Find that strap and wiggle, 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 and walk your hand up the strap. In reality, you may be able to link your fingers. So right elbow down, left elbow up, and both elbows in, and Tadasana in your lower body. So that ultimately, eventually, the back of the head is pressing into the forearm. And watch that you're not collapsing or pressing the head forward. Good. One more nice deep breath. Sigh it out. Let the right hand hold the strap, and the left hand stretches up and comes down. And then the right arm sweeps down and relax. Take a moment to just feel what you feel. And then the strap is in the right hand. Extend the arms across the horizon. Turn the palms to face upward and keep taking that right arm up. The left hand, palm faces you, thumb is pointing upwards, and then draw the outer upper arm toward the ear. So this is internal rotation. Actually, it's external rotation, excuse me. So we want the elbow point to point forward so that when you bend the elbow point is forward, not out here. And it might take a couple more years of practice. Lift it up and then slide the left hand up from holding onto the elbow, tractioning the elbow up and back while drawing it in. Yeah? And then the right arm is going to sustain that shape as best you can. Stretch the left arm out. Palm faces forward, downward, and backward. And sweep the arm back and walk it up. Find the strap and walk it up, 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 as close to the right fingers as you can comfortably manage. In reality, you may be able to hook the fingers. But we're maintaining Tadasana in the low body and in the torso. So watch that you're not thrusting the chest forward or the hips forward. Bring the front body back to meet the back body and find a reasonable amount of energy So take the left elbow down, the right elbow up, and both elbows in. Take one more breath. Hold the strap in just the left hand. Extend the right arm up and bring it forward to come down. And then release the left arm. Good. Put strap to the side. Bring your fingertips to your shoulders and draw slow, big circles with your elbows. Slow and big circles with your elbows. So to address our hips, that's next. We'll address the hips and then the hips and the shoulders together. And then we'll come to the neck. Change the direction of the circling. Certainly the work that we do in the shoulders will affect the neck most definitely, but we'll do some postures specifically for the neck. So releasing. Good, come back down onto all fours, maybe without the use of your hands. And as you come into table pose, every time your hands meet the earth, you want to find that circumference of the palmar surface of the hand. The center of the palm lifting up away from the earth. This space right here, this is the carpal tunnel. And you want to avoid crashing down on the carpal tunnel when you come onto your hand. So starting in table pose is easiest. We're not balancing and we're not bearing all of our weight on our hands. The shoulders are over the wrist. And you know, we were just doing that spiraling of the upper arm bone. See if you can find that again. So from the shoulder to the wrist is in, or from the shoulder to the elbow, excuse me, is in external rotation. But then from the elbow to the wrist is in internal rotation. So you're really bearing the weight heavily on the pad of the thumb. It's a lot of words to describe very little. Push the earth away and watch that the shoulders are over the wrist, not over the hands or the fingers. That's too much pressure on the carpal tunnel. Turn the toes of the right foot under and extend the right leg back. Tuck the toes under like we've done already. Press the heel back and watch that it doesn't make your left waist shrink. Keep both sides of the waist long. Pressure down in the top of the left foot and inhale to extend the right leg back. This is not about height. This is about extension. You want to keep the pelvis level and the pressure of the left foot down to draw the low belly in so that you're not sagging in your back, right? Firm that right buttocks to lift the leg. Lift the leg with the buttocks, not the mobility of the spine. Good. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, sweep the right leg across the midline over toward the left, and then drop the toes down. Dig them in, dig the toes in, turn them under, and then press the heel away and look over your left shoulder. Maybe you catch a glimpse of your foot, or maybe not, doesn't matter. But this little bit of shifting or swaying to the left or to the right, rolling toward the little toe mound, cross each toe mound to the big toe mound. It's all of these subtle shifts. 1 degree is going to change how and where you feel this. So take the time to explore and then find your optimum shape. Not the position with the greatest amount of resistance and struggle. The last thing we need our yoga practice to teach us is how to struggle. But you find a place that's intriguing. There's a little bit of a stretch. It's just beyond what you can do comfortably and without any resistance. But only just. One more nice deep breath, sigh it out. And tuck that right knee nice and tight behind the left knee. Really squeeze it in and let the feet go wide and return to face. So knees snuggle tight, tight, tight in, feet wide. And then let your hips sway side to side, like a dog wagging her tail. This can be small or big. You will feel this in your hips. I don't have to tell you that. You can feel it. This may be your optimum shape. Just letting the hips sway and swing side to side. Maybe let that get a little bit bigger or pause to one side or the other. Having your block handy, this can be very helpful as you shift the hips back and lift them up. So this is definitely something that I lead fairly regularly on beach yoga. And I want to tell you, the sand makes all the difference in the world. So as you're shifting the hips back, you may find that You can begin to sit down in between your heels, not on your feet, but you need the support of your block. As you're coming back, ask yourself, what would it take to get the left outer hip to come at the same rate as the right? And you may need the block and you may not need the block. Either way, it's okay. But the left knee, I know I'm not mirroring you, the left knee right on top of the right knee. So find your optimum shape. And what would it take to get the feet evenly out at the sides of your hips, not one tucked in more than the other? And in reality, you may still be on hands and knees and the hips swaying side to side or coming forward and back. That's fine. That's a beautiful way to work intelligently with sensitivity to find the openness in the hips that's required for Gomukhasana. So this is the low body shape of Gomukhasana. We were already in the upper body shape. So find your strap again, but only if you're sitting down. So use whatever height you need to sit down, maybe 2 blocks. And if it's just not an option, it's just not an option. You keep working on your hips and don't worry about the second part. But we're going to take the strap in the right hand. Again, I'm not mirroring you. So I'm going to take the right arm up. Use that left arm to find the spiraling. Give yourself a pat on the back. Take the arm up to hold the elbow. Take the hand up to hold the elbow. And then stretch the left arm out. Palm faces backward. Sweep the arm back and walk it up the strap. So this is the full expression of Gomukhasana, cow face pose. So working to get that elbow in and up, left elbow in and down, and all 4 corners of the chest lifted. Do not overstay your welcome. Notice if you're leaning one way or the other. Gently resting the head against the forearm or not. Good. Let the low hand hold the strap, stretch the upper arm up and bring it forward to come down. And then release the back arm straight out to the horizon and come on down. Good. So to come out takes a little bit of strength here, a little bit of oomph to lift the hips to come forward onto hands and knees. So a bit of momentum. And then untangle the legs. Coming back onto all fours here. Turn the toes of the right foot under again and extend the right leg back. Keep pressure down in the top of the left foot so the low belly rises up and keeps the kidney band full. Don't let the tail lift and the low back sink. Stretch the heart forward. Hug the muscles in toward the bone of the right leg. Lift it up. Firm the right buttock. Lift it from the buttock, not from the mobility of the pelvis. The pelvis stays stable. And then sweep that leg to the right. Bring it forward any amount and plop it down. Press into the outer edge of the foot and inhale to sweep the right arm out to come up. Turn your gaze to the thumb. The neck is long, all 4 sides evenly long. So watch if you're lifting the right ear up or dropping the left ear down, what would it take? And soften the neck and turn. One more nice deep breath, sigh it out, and exhale, release the hand down. Find stability in both hands in the top of the left foot, lift the right leg, sweep it back again once more. Firm the right buttocks, lift that leg, and then lower down. Good, sitting back on or towards your heels once more. Good, so we just have one more side. So I'm gonna demonstrate this one from the side. So we're back on all fours. Keep the pressure down in the top of the right foot, slide the left toes under, really tuck them under. Press the heel back. Hug the muscles in toward the bone and use the left buttock to lift the leg. Don't let the pelvis tilt and the back sag. It doesn't matter how high you come. This is about extension, not height. Toes should be pointing straight down. So you're lifting from the inner thigh. There's a spiraling from the inner thigh to the outer thigh. And then taking that leg over across the midline to the right, toes still pointing down, and then turn the toes under, dig them in, and press the heel away. And look over your right shoulder. Maybe you catch a glimpse of your foot. Notice if you're leaning to the right or to the left, forward or backward, and what it would take to balance the weight evenly. Press that left heel back. Don't let the left leg sag. Look over your shoulder. Find your breath, settle down. Roll toward the little toe, and then slowly across to the big toe. So as you do that, the left hip lowers. You come to the little toe, and it lifts as you come to the big toe. It's a subtle, subtle movement, but then identify your optimum shape, not maximum. This isn't about finding the tension and holding on in a big ball of tension. It's about slowly approaching your edge, the place where there's resistance, and pausing before you get there. One more nice deep breath, and then tuck that left knee in tight, tight, tight behind the right. Knees together, and then the feet go wide. We're not the same side to side. So we're not picking up where we left off on the first side. And you don't know where you can go on this side. But let the hips sway side to side. With that left knee hooked behind the right knee and the hips go to the left, you can get a really intense stretch there. So be careful, be sensitive, go slowly and find your edge. And then as you drop the right hip down, you get a big stretch there too. So this coming in and out, wagging the tail, don't think of this as not doing the full expression of the pose. Think of this as a really good way to work at opening the hips in this direction. This addresses the IT band, the tensor fasciae lata, the lateral aspect of the outer thigh bone and hip. And then maybe you shift the hips back and forward. And as you do that, watch if you're doing some grand undulating serpentine shape and what it would take to get the right outer hip to go back at the same rate as the left. And if it's coming along and your hips start to shift back with more and more ease, then use the block, sit on the block or a pillow or a bolster or just the right thing. And then your right knee is on top of your left knee and you are not sitting on your left foot. The feet are away from the hips evenly, more or less. Good. So the thighs are like free-flowing rivers of energy and the knees are heavy down and the heart is lifted and buoyant. So we have the right leg on top. That means the left arm will be lifted up. So using your strap as you see fit. If you don't need the strap, then you don't need the strap. So we're going to take the arms out to the horizon. Inhale to take the left arm up. Sitting sideways doesn't really serve any point anymore. So taking the left arm up, give yourself a pat on the back. Or use that right hand, use the right hand to spiral and then pat yourself on the back. Move the hand up to the elbow point. Throwing the elbow in and up, any amount, right? In reality, your arm may be over here. That's okay. Patience. And then stretch the right arm, palm faces down and then back and sweep the arm back and wiggle and walk it up the strap, walk it up the spine. Maybe you can interlace the fingers or just create tension on the spine. Watch if you're leaning way over. This elbow has gone out. What would it take? It's just an inquiry. There's no express elevator to heaven for the people who get their elbow to point straight up and interlace their fingers, but there might be an express ride to the surgery if you try to do too much too soon. It doesn't pay. Patience pays. Flexibility and strength come gradually. Injury comes quickly. Holding the strap in just the right hand, extend the left arm up, release it forward to come down, and then stretch the right arm to the horizon, palm faces forward, and release it down. Good. And then that big heave-ho to come forward onto your hands and knees once more. Untangle the legs. And turn the toes of the left foot under and extend that left leg back once more. Pressure down in the top of the right foot. Hug the muscles in and lift the left leg with the left buttock. And then sweep the left leg to the left, bring it forward any amount, plop it down, press into the outer heel, and inhale to sweep the left arm up. So again, watch that your torso isn't shifting or swaying. You want to keep the crown extended beyond the right fingertips and gaze up to the left thumb. Make your neck neutral. So not lifting the ear one way or the other, not tucking the chin in. Turn. Reach up through the left fingers. Find length in the left waist. One more nice deep breath. And exhale, come on down. Hug the muscles in toward the bone of the left leg. Lift it up, let it float back behind you. And then lower the left knee down. Good. Take your feet to one side and your hips to the other side. Just sit down. Good. Extending the legs out in front of you. So if you remember at the beginning of the class, we were in Uttanasana, or the forward fold. And I said that it was preparation for Paschimottanasana. Well, here we go, Paschimottanasana. So this pose translates as the intense west side stretch. So sit up on height will be helpful. Bend the knees as much as you need to maintain the fullness of the chest. And then the strap goes around the balls of the feet so that you can really press the big toe mound into the strap. So the inner edge of the foot is extending away strongest, and the outer edge of the foot is drawing back toward the outer hip. Take the strap each side in one hand and the other side in the other hand. And watch that your elbows aren't bent. You don't want to be here. You want to walk the hands toward the feet, but you're not pulling the shoulders out of their joints. So draw the shoulders back. Elbows in and down, and use that resistance, the strength of the arms, to lift your heart, not to force yourself into a shape that you're not ready for. Leaning back as much as you need to lift the heart. Bend the knees as much as you need to lift the heart. Good. And then as it's coming along, using the arms, the elbows stay in and draw back as the heart comes forward, any amount. So we're looking to extend forward, not round forward, no collapsing. So it doesn't interest me how far you go, but that you come with a long, straight spine. The integrity of the spine is known, and the baby elephant is sinking the thighs down. And if you can walk the hands far enough down the strap to hold the outer edges of the feet, by all means do that. Use the arms. Maybe you find that the yogi toe lock is a better hold for you. Doesn't matter, but you stretch the heart forward. An intense stretch. The west side is the whole back side of the body, from the backs of the heels to the back of the head. Sink the inner thigh. So we're bringing the low belly to the upper thigh, the middle belly to the middle thigh, the upper belly to the low thigh. You stretch the heart forward, and you don't stay too long. So when you feel as though you have had enough, inhaling to rise up, slide the hands back down the strap. If you're holding the feet, you can walk the hands in along the earth or stretch the arms forward if your low back is feeling very stable and strong. And then heavy tail, light heart, rise up and release the hands down. Plant the hands right by your hips. Take the feet a little bit wider. Dig the heels in, pressing down enough to lift the hips and bring the hips toward the heels, and use the arms to slowly lower yourself down. Have a block at hand. Arms down by your sides. Walk the heels in close to the buttocks as much as your knees will allow. If you have one foot that can come in tighter than the other one, let the more resistant side dictate where you put your feet for balance. Always defer to the tighter side. Inner edges of the feet are parallel. So first start with your block on its low height, lengthwise in between the inner edges of your feet. So the length of the block in between the inner edges of your feet on its low height, to intelligize the inner edges of your feet, to tell you, give you some feedback about where they are in space. And then you'll notice some of us tend to evert and some invert or stand on the outer edge of the foot or on the inner edge. And you'll know by the way your feet meet the block. If you are immediately, holding the block tight, then you're probably an inverter. And if you have to think about bringing the heels in to hold the block, you're probably an everter. So this is just intelligizing, letting you know what your habit is and what it takes to balance the weight on the whole foot evenly. So once you feel as though you have figured that out, and that might be for the rest of the practice today and into the next few practices, but if you feel like you've got that, then we're going to take the block on the very same shape, but in between the knees. So that now not only are the feet balanced, but the thighs are again like free-flowing rivers of energy right out of the pelvis without wobbling out or crashing in. So we're holding the block, not crushing it, but holding it. And then walk your arms down by your sides, palms face in, tuck the shoulder blades in and walk the hands toward the feet, and tuck the shoulder blades in and walk the hands toward the feet. And you can start to feel the mid-ribs lift up. And the tension comes in the throat and in the jaw. So relax the tension in the throat and in the jaw. Just let the sternum start to rise up toward the chin without creating that resistance. Good, so the tail is very heavy. The low back is arched. Whether the block is between your feet and your knees doesn't matter, but you're gonna hold that. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, scoop the tail under and lift from the backs of the thighs. Come in and out, that lifting and lowering. Press the feet straight down, press the palms down, press the outer upper shoulders down, but not the back of the head and not the neck. Let the head and the neck be soft and relaxed. And then the next time that you lift the hips up, we'll sustain. Press the feet down, lift from the backs of the thighs. The abdomen should be passive, soft and receding. If the belly's popping up, then you're using the muscles of the spine and not the muscles of the hips and the legs. See what happens if you push the earth away with your feet. Brings the weight onto the shoulders even more, creates more of a stretch for the back of the neck, but watch again that you're not popping up in the belly. And then relax that energy. Press straight down with the feet, down in the hands, down in the outer upper shoulders. That remains constant. And then pull the earth towards you with your feet and see what happens. It helps you to find the long line from the shoulders to the knees. To lengthen, traction the legs out of the pelvis. Abdomen receding. And then pause, come back to neutral, press down in the feet, lift the hips, and slowly release down, slowly. Take the block from the feet or from the knees if you're using it. Put it to the side, right where you can easily reach it with your hands. You don't have to go far to find it. Walk the hands down toward the feet. Tuck the shoulder blades in. Feel the buoyancy that comes in the chest. Press the feet down, press the hands down, press the outer shoulders down, keep the jaw soft, scoop the tailbone under and lift the hips. And then find the height of the block that barely fits under. So the mid height fits under with ease, the high height barely fits. So I have to lift my heels to lift my hips. Whether you have the block going left to right or top to bottom is up to you based on what you feel. You decide what's in your best interest. So maybe the mid height or the low height of the block is in your best interest. And then relax the hips down onto the block. When we give ourselves a prop, particularly in the bridge pose, the tendency is we hover up over the pose, over the block, right? We keep that tension. Relax the tension in the legs. Relax any effort in the hips and in the backs of the legs. Relax the belly. And absolutely relax the throat. So you can see I'm on the high height, the throat is fairly constricted, but I can still breathe and speak and swallow. So even though the back of the neck is tractioning and the front of the neck is compressing, the windpipe is not changing. I still have an open throat, moving freely. If it's coming along, walk the fingers down toward the feet. Maybe you turn the palms to face upward and stand on your fingers or on your palms. Thumbnails down. Maybe you can turn the fingers, hold the inner edges of your heels, turn the palms away, and walk the shoulder blades in. Outer edges of the shoulders down. So neck and shoulders and hips and knees and feet. We get it all in Center Bandhasana. Find your optimum shape, and we're going to just relax into it for 5 breaths. Soften something somewhere, anything, anywhere. Relax the eye and the jaw and the throat and the shoulders and the chest and the belly and the hips and the whole pelvis. And take one more nice deep breath. And use the strength of the lower body to lift the hips up. You may have to lift the heels, get the hips up high enough to take the block away. Stretch the arms up to the sky, take the shoulder blades apart, and then very slowly keep scooping the tail under, drawing the belly in so that those 5 lumbar vertebrae come down before the sacrum, before the pelvis. Tractioning the tail away, lengthening the low back, and then relax the arms and let the soles of the feet to come together as the knees drift apart. Letting the natural curvature of the low back be restored and the pacifying sensation in the abdomen. Maybe some support for the knees. You make it easier by taking the feet further away from the floor of the pelvis. You're preparing the upper body for Shavasana. So any amount, tractioning the back of the head away so that the throat can soften and recede. The arms are at a 45-degree angle away from the body with palms facing upward in a receiving gesture. Tuck the shoulder blades in and down. Know the buoyancy in your heart. And then one at a time, extend the legs. Relax the legs evenly and completely. If your low back is tender, please consider putting a rolled up blanket, pillows, or blocks underneath your knees to take the pressure off your low back. Make any final refinements and adjustments to find a perfectly comfortable position for deep relaxation. The time for work has come and gone. Now is the time for the human being. Lightly resting your attention on your breath. And in particular, the exhalation. And with each exhalation, softening. Relax the space between the eyebrows. Relax the muscles around the orbit of the eye. Let the forehead be broad, expansive, soft. Relax the skin at the temple. Go from the inner edges of the eyes to the outer edges of the eyes. And let the eyes themselves gradually recede into the socket. And while the fullness of the lips gently touching, separate the teeth once more. Let the lower jaw be flat and feel the full volume of the tongue slide to the back of the throat and rest there in the pool. Merely take the time of the next inhalation for the eyes to rebound back up to the eyelids and the furrow in the brow to be reestablished. So you just take the next exhalation to let it all go again. Let the throat occupy the fullness of the neck. Feel energy flow out the limbs, softening anything, something. Letting go. Can you do the rest? Deep breath in, sigh it out. Settle down. Stay with yourself. Breath to breath. Noticing. Take another deep breath in and sigh it out. Stay with yourself. Do that again. Deep breath in, sigh it out. And if you care to, let that sweet little smile return to the corners of your eyes and mouth. And breathe in some smiling energy. Fill the whole of your being with radiant, dazzling, smiling energy. And then the spirit moves you to move your body, go so slowly. An onlooker would barely notice any movement at all as you find fingers and toes. Slowly beginning to grow movement, including more and more body parts. Go at a progression that's just right for you, proceeding slowly. When you have invited small, gentle movement back into all of the body parts, then pause for a moment. Take a deep breath in, and then a big full body stretch, even if you have to fake the yawn. Oh, and settle down. Pause. Notice the quality of rest that comes. One at a time, sliding the heels back in to bend the knees and plant the feet. Sending the right arm comfortably overhead and then roll all the way over onto the right side and use the arm and hand to support your head. Draw the knees in comfortably. Fetal position. Pausing here for what you deem to be an adequate amount of time, knowing that there is no benefit to hurrying. But when the time comes and you're ready to sit up, resist the temptation to kick that left leg out or pull yourself up with your head. Don't go back onto your back. Instead, turn more to the earth, heart, and gaze, and then use the strength of the left arm to push you up enough to get the right arm under you with bent knees and the arms press you up. and come around to establish your comfortable seated position once more. Maybe sitting back on or in between the feet. Draw the hands together in prayer position in front of the heart, a gentle pressure, palm to palm. Take a deep breath in and sit tall. And as you exhale, allow the eyes to close. Take one more deep breath in, ascending, and as you exhale, tuck the chin gently, bow the head forward. And in this posture of reverence and humility, consider these words by Dana Fogg. This is a poem titled Light Bearers. She writes, "We are the light bearers, stewards of a truth that insists on being shared despite doubt or fear or imagined limitation. We spread the flame by teaching or by growing still, by daring to be outrageous and dancing beneath the full moon, or by holding a friend in need and taking part in life's normal routine. This is our message. There is hope encoded in each cell, each loving thought, each time we reach out to one another. There's truth that won't be stopped by toppled buildings, snipers, bullets, war clouds on the horizon, or the inner storm of grief, despair, and insecurity. We are the peace we've been seeking, the peace that stretches beyond the mind's need for form or understanding, the peace for which each human heart longs. Now is the time for the light bearers to offer up the truth of who and what we really are. As you inhale, allow the head to rise back up, sigh it out, and inhale to chant Om. Om. Hare Om. Shanti, peace, shalom, salam. With deep gratitude and deep respect, the yogi in me bows, the yogi in you. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Thank you for sharing your practice with me.